Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Hein, and I am super excited to do a very special edition interview for any person that knows a child, any age, or loves a child, because we have some really, truly important information to get out to you. I am known as a pioneer and an entrepreneur, and I'm one of the founding distributors of the first ever mental wellness company that formulated 4 years ago, before a pandemic, before the chaos that our country is going through. And I came specifically to this company because I had a very sick husband at the time, and I was looking for solutions and alternatives to many of the medications that had side effects. And when I saw that there were other options, safe options, it was unbelievable how it transformed his life. But what little did I know is that this very mission, this very brand, would help so many other people. And right now we have a pretty dire situation in our country and world. Mental health in children has doubled during the pandemic. Anxiety, depression, focus issues, mood issues, it's escalating. And not just with kids, with parents, adults, teachers, any profession. And it's kind of scary. And we're right at that mark of sending our children back to school. And we are here tonight to not talk about the problems. We're here to talk about the solutions, how to equip our families, equip parents, you parents and grandparents and neighbors and aunties and uncles with positive solutions that can help your kids conquer and thrive. And I'm going to say that again, conquer and thrive through stressful times, to help them focus better, to help them sleep better, to help those tummy aches, to help all these things that our kids are dealing with. Now, listen, I didn't go to school for those things. I'm just a pioneer. But being a pioneer, I connect myself with really smart people who have, and really intelligent people that have become pioneers with me on this mission. And I am super excited to introduce you to two of these pioneers. And so the first pioneer I have is Cindy Wechsler. She is, I believe, from Connecticut. Am I right on that? Did I say that right?
You are.
Connecticut. I did. We got Connecticut in the house. And you know, when I was looking over her bio, I was like, dang girl, she is a pediatric nurse practitioner and went to Yale University. And I mean, one of the most prestigious schools in our country. So we're really blessed to have you on tonight, on this interview, on this show, to be able to just share some of your experience and your expertise in this cry for help of mental health increases like crazy in our nation. And so Cindy, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for bringing your experience and your knowledge. And so tell us a little bit about your background and what led you, a nurse practitioner who went to Yale, into looking into more holistic solutions. Dying to know. So tell us your story.
I want to thank you for inviting me to speak. This is truly a passion of mine. So I went to Yale over 30 years ago, and as part of the program, we didn't learn about nutrition, and we didn't learn about alternative solutions and holistic solutions. And honestly, when I first started practicing, it wasn't anything I really thought about. And probably 10 years into my career, I started thinking there had to be another way, because, you know, we were medicating a lot, and I just felt that I wanted to do more. I wanted to heal the body without causing more harm. And I just started on a journey to really learn more, and my focus was more on nutrition. And I just started diving into that and really finding out how nutrition plays such an important role in our body and our overall health.
Wow. I find it fascinating. The more I have talked over the years, I've been in a health and wellness companies and representing brands for 25 years. And it's mind blowing to me that building health, you know, when I talk to doctors and healthcare professionals, that they're not taught. any of that in school. And so kudos to you, healthcare professionals that go above and beyond during your careers, during serving your patients to search. And so Cindy, tell us what you found in holistic health.
So I found that there are lots of different herbs and supplements that you can utilize to really help heal the body. And even I like to be proactive. So even take that step where, preventing certain things. And for me, again, earlier on in my career, when I first started delving into all of this, I noticed when I was putting kids on antibiotics or other medications, I wanted to help to protect their microbiome, which is what I was doing so much research about, and found that, 70% of our immune system is in our microbiome. I hadn't learned that. So I would start introducing or recommending, while I was prescribing certain things that I felt were important, probiotics to help these kids so it wouldn't really interfere with their immune system.
Interesting. So would you say it's a fair statement to say that you found in the research and studying that you did that a healthy gut meant that not only could you help a child build a healthy immune system, but also it helped their moods?
Definitely. I would definitely agree with that.
Isn't that interesting? And since you've brought a more holistic approach into your practice, what are you seeing? What are you seeing with patients restoring their microbiome and using medications, many medications, as a last case resort versus a first case resort?
One of the most important things that I'm seeing is kids are pooping better. A long time ago, when I was thinking about starting my own practice, I was going to have a practice just focused on constipation, because that was like probably the number one complaint of most kids. And it wasn't even a complaint. I think people just thought it was normal to not be going to the bathroom. And so, putting people on healthy supplements, a healthier diet, really helps them to have a normal bowel pattern. So that's the first start. I've noticed that, kids are not having a lot of the belly aches, headaches, overall feeling better, focusing better, which, is so important. And as you mentioned, there's really been an increase in the amount of stress, anxiety. I would probably say over the past 10 years, I've seen things escalating, just as far as all these kids coming in and being diagnosed with, anxiety and depression, and ADHD. So, if I was able to do something more holistic as an option, that was really my reason for giving parents choices. That's what it's about, really giving them options, which, again, 30 years ago, I didn't even know there were options. So I'm so blessed to have these options to offer.
Well, and Cindy, we're blessed that you're sharing these options, and that you continued researching even beyond your schooling. Schooling never finishes, right? So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kevin, and I'm going to come back to you, Cindy, with a couple of things. But Dr. Kevin Rouse is from Arkansas, and he is a pediatrician and has had his own private practice since 2001. I know he's happily married to the love of his life, has 2 kids, and also is passionate about his worship band at church. And so you're just a well-rounded dude. And I had the privilege of meeting Dr. Kevin this past year. And what fascinated me is he was looking at trying to be, example to his patients by taking care of himself when he was looking for himself to improve his health. And when you found out that we carried a children's brand, you just had to find out more. And so, Kevin, I'm really excited to also interview you tonight, because you are in the heart this last year of seeing kiddos in your practice. And we want to hear from you. What have you seen as a change in this past year? What are the biggest challenges you're seeing in your clinic this year and right now?
Absolutely, Sarah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure talking with you face to face. I do want to say real quick, I got a text while Cindy was talking. A mom texted me who's actually, I believe, on, and she said, "That's funny. My daughter just told me she's pooping better." So I didn't want to forget to throw that in there. Yeah, so
Poop matters.
Poop, exactly. And I agree, Cindy. I mean, I could open up a whole practice just for stomach aches and chronic constipation. So yeah, Sarah, it's been a weird year for our kids. It's really a weird year, and it just seems to be getting more weird, especially with school starting back. You know, our kids are dealing with a lot. There's a lot of tension in the air. The tension is, the kids feel that. They may not be tense, but their parents are tense. There's, are we going to wear masks? Are we not going to wear masks? Are we going to get vaccinated? Are we not going to get vaccinated? It's really a weird year. Kids who did virtual school all last year are now facing going back to school for the first time. And so just lots of uncertainties and questions. And, kids hear their parents talk, kids know what's going on. And so I just have one word to say about it right now. It's just weird. It's weird for kids. And that translates into a lot of issues.
Yeah. And Kevin, can you, just to help parents that are listening or grandparents, can you describe in this weird, I think it's a perfect word, weird phase that we're in, this weirdness, stress, it affects our bodies in all different ways. How are you seeing this? What symptoms are you seeing in these kids?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of symptoms, and I think it varies from age group to age group, the gut is a major outlet for symptoms in kids. And I think for all people, but especially in kids, just tummy aches, poor appetite, constipation in kids is so common, but that's really on the rise. So chronic stomach aches, belly aches, pooping issues, sleep issues, that's a big one too. Kids that don't sleep, kids that used to sleep well are not sleeping well, kids are having nightmares, just things like that, don't want to go to sleep. Headaches, recurrent headaches. And then, in our older kids, like our adolescents and teenagers, I love teenagers. Okay. I do, but they're just a separate animal a lot, but, and so they have their own issues all the time, but it just seems like lately we're seeing a lot more issues with teens, kids that are becoming more withdrawn, just being withdrawn. And I think part of that is related to social distancing, but I think it makes them just start withdrawing more. And so kids are staying in their rooms more and just not coming out and be a part of the family.
Yeah, the isolation, it's a real problem. It's a real problem. And we're going to equip families tonight to help through that. Definitely. When I met you, you were looking for a more holistic option, just as Cindy was talking about. Both of you, and some of these questions I might kind of go back and forth between you two, if that's okay. You were looking for a more holistic option. Tell us why. Why is a pediatrician for over 20 to 25 years, right? I'm trying to do my math, 2001.
Yeah, 20 plus years.
We'll go with 20 plus. Yeah, tell us about we'll just do that. 20 plus, that sounds good. Tell everyone why were you looking outside the box?
Well, just to be honest and transparent with you, I was looking honestly for something for myself, like you mentioned earlier. And, just through a connection I had following a guy called Coach, my best buddy, I got introduced to this company. And then I realized about the kids products, and, I thought, okay, there's actually a standardized, well-studied, well-developed kids line that's holistic. I want to learn more about this because, Sarah, for 20 years, I've been treating kids with the same problems we're seeing now. It's becoming more frequent, but I've been treating kids for ADHD, anxiety, sleep problems, gut problems, digestive problems, whatever. And not that traditional medicine's bad. I mean, I'm an MD and I embrace traditional medicine, absolutely. But, it seems like a lot of the things I would do would just not work, or they might work okay, but there would be side effects and just things like that. And then I would even have parents ask me over the years, is there anything else we can do? Or is there something natural we could do? And I'd be like, well, I don't know. I didn't get trained in that. We don't learn about that stuff. And so I was just really excited and so it just kind of fell into my lap. And it was something I was looking for without really realizing I was looking for it. And so I was able to just do more research into these products and talk to Dr. Talbot, who is the chief science officer, and get down to the nitty gritty of why this versus anything else. And just became a believer pretty quick. And once I started using it, it's like, whoa, this is real.
Wow. Now I'm just going to pause here for a second because I want to point something out very important. My husband has been sick for many years with a rare disease around this country with a lot of doctors, a lot of top leading experts in neuro-otology and in neurosurgeons. And I want to point something out between Cindy and Kevin that I think is beautiful. And I'm setting the bar now high for all of you with your doctors. You want to find a doctor. Is it fair, Dr. Kevin and Cindy, that we pay you, right? We pay you. It's kind of like your patient's employees. We pay you, and you want to find a doctor who's open-minded. When you're asking, is there any other options? Would you be willing to help me look at this? That they're open-minded. And kudos to Cindy and Dr. Kevin. They have set that bar high. And when I have personally spoke to both of them, they've renewed my faith that there are amazing doctors out there. And if your doctor isn't opened and you're not getting the results you're looking for, go find another one. I just got to point that out as an advocate for my husband. We have found amazing doctors. They're out there. And let's just give a round of applause. I have little clappers. Some of you might think it's weird. Round of applause to Cindy and Dr. Kevin. I have to just do that because seriously, I talk to people every single day that are frustrated. They are frustrated and their doctors aren't looking outside the box. And so I just had to point that out. All right, let's get back. So what results, Dr. Kevin? And Cindy, you mentioned some of the results, but I'm gonna come back to you. What results are you seeing in your patients?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I mean, the list goes on and on. And so as I was kind of preparing for this tonight, I was so excited because I started going through some texts I've had from parents and charts and just looking back. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I need to do this at least once a week. But, I've got kids using holistic options from about age 5 up to, well, I've got adults as well. But as far as my patients, probably 17. Well, I see kids till 18. So I've got 17-year-olds. So I'm seeing, and what's fun is just, I was so excited. I took all these little notes today of these patient stories because I wanted to make sure I told the stories right. And it's so cool. But if you don't mind me cheating, I'm going to look. I mean, okay, here's a 13-year-old boy. Okay, 13. Poor eating habits due to sensory issues. Seemed depressed and less than desirable attitude, according to his mom. It took him some time to be consistent with the products, but now he's thinking clearer. He's processing thoughts better. He smiles and acts more like a 13-year-old boy, which is scary, according to mom, but good. Here's a 10-year-old boy. Anxiety, chronic stomach aches, constipation. Text from dad. They have good days and they outnumber the bad. They have higher highs and the lows are much more short-lived. He's more resilient to stress. He poops better and he has no stomach issues. 7-year-old boy. ADHD diagnosed by psychologist in 2019. We started medicines. I started him on medicine in early 2020 because that's what I do. And it's before I knew about these products. The parents were I remember the visit. The mom was tearful about starting meds. They were kind of afraid. She was reluctant. We went ahead and did it. He did okay, helped a little bit, but he was having side effects. We had to keep upping his dose. Well, we started the products in late 2020. Since then, we've decreased his dose of methylphenidate. He has not had to increase his dose since starting. He has straight A's, better focus, improved behavior, better appetite. Okay, here's a little girl who's only been on them for a week. I touched base with mom today. She's sleeping better, already seeing some better focus and better mood. 17-year-old girl. She's been homeschooled, okay? So mom says, all right, she's had ADHD all her life, but we homeschool, we've just dealt with it. But now she's prepping for the ACT. She has anxiety out the roof. She's 17. She's above our weight limit for the kids product. So she's been taking some adult focus and adult mood. She's studying for the ACT. She's not stressed out. She has less test anxiety. And so, I don't know how much time I'm going to take. I can go on. I've got a little dude. I think his mom is on here. He's my first kiddo who started products. I don't know if you want her to talk. If you want to do that, she's here, I believe. But he's an ex-preemie. Yeah.
I'm going to look for her. And while I'm looking for her, I'm going to turn it to Cindy.
Yeah,
Cindy.
I can just keep going on and on.
No, Kevin. Dr. Kevin, that is priceless. I hope all of you right now listening to this pediatrician of 20 plus years, there is hope to prepare your kids and equip your kids to get into stress resiliency for this school year. It's going to be okay. I can't stress that enough. It's going to be okay. Cindy, can you share with parents some stories that you might have of what you've been seeing working with people, even adults? Like, what are you seeing? What are the results you're seeing?
So again, I've been seeing kids also with, better focus, better behavior, better mood. I also, since I started my own practice, I do work with adults as well. And I've had adults who have really been able to reverse their stomach issues. I have my own personal journey, and I started with the company because I was very excited when I saw the kids line of products, because I thought, wow, this is exactly what I'm looking for to add to my toolkit. But before I was going to start anything, recommending anything, I really wanted to see how I would feel. And it was so life-changing for me. And I have to preface this by saying, I was already doing other natural solutions. I was using other supplements, and I was dealing with a lot of chronic issues. I had IBS, I had SIBO. I literally had to revamp everything I was eating, and I had a really clean diet. So for me to be able to be totally symptom-free after, a short time, it just was a game changer for me. And that's really, I was totally on board at that point, and I knew that I was going to just start recommending to my patients and friends and family. I've seen people's moods go from, irritable to really being more at peace, being calmer, having more patience. The stories can go on and on.
Wow. I love it. In fact, as you're talking, Cindy, with such an amazing story, my own daughter's on, and she's reminded me that my granddaughter had eczema horribly from like the day she was born, and autoimmune problems. And literally it's been gone now since we've been here. She's 6 and she was 2 when we came here to Amare. So for 4 years, she's been in the clear zone of that. So thank you to my daughter for sharing that in the chat box. So I want to quickly bring on Dana, and then we're going to go, Kevin, to your patient. We're going to bring her on. Kaylee, I've got you. We can turn on your video and we're done with Dana. Dana Lewis is on, beautiful blonde. She, oh my gosh, is my hero. Listen to this, everyone. She is an amazing single mom to 3 teenagers, and she's what we call a survivor. Her husband battled a very brief battle to cancer in 2013. I believe, if my memory serves me right, it was only 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Am I right, Dana?
Yeah.
And she is my hero. She's the founder of Amazingly Well, and she coaches women and teaches them overall health is more than simply a diet plus exercise. And so Dana, your family went through, talk about weird and talk about trauma, and your boys were little when their dad died. Mm-hmm. Can you just share what this holistic solution has been for your family?
I think I'm going to go, well, first of all, it's so great to be here. And I'll go back to what Kevin said about looking for something without even knowing that you were looking for something, like no idea what I was looking for. My boys were 6, 8, and 10 when my husband died. And if I'm honest, our family had no stress resiliency. So we talk about what is stress resilience. And if I am honest, I had no idea what that was. I evolved into the queen of faking fine. Like I was going to find Mama Bear, my kids, we were going to get through this. I went to counseling. I put my kids in counseling because that's what you do when something tragic happens. And none of us could implement what the counselors were saying because we didn't have resilience. And if you look up resilient, it means to tap into the strengths and support systems that you have to overcome a challenge. But what I learned is that if your stress is to here and your cortisol levels are to here, your body is in a fight or flight state, and you have no adaptability to take in what the counselor is saying and what the people were saying that we should do. And we were not functioning, and our home vibe was not functioning. So fast forward to today, to these solutions. I learned about gut health. I learned about cortisol. I learned about hormones. I know a ton about nutrition and fitness. We were doing all of the things that I knew to do. And I actually have one son with ADHD, and he kind of pioneered the path for us to try these solutions. But we got on these solutions, and my entire family dynamic changed because we found stress resilience. We found the ability to have the calm in the storm. So when stress is to here, when you have stress resiliency, your cortisol levels come down, and now you have the time to think about the situations that you're in. So if I forward this to an example, I have two examples that I would love to share from my kids. So one of them, my little guy with ADHD, and I think it's ADHD and anxiety intertwined together for him. He would pass out before presentations. Show up at school ready to give a presentation, he would straight up pass out with these, because he would make himself so anxious. With these solutions, he literally will pop a kid's mood before he knows that he needs to give a presentation. It lowers the cortisol in his brain and allows him to have that resiliency where you're tapping in to your strength. You're tapping into your knowledge, and you're showing up as your very best self, because your microbiome plays a huge role in that. And I was sharing with you, Sarah, the other day about my oldest that's heading off to college, right? He's heading off to college. Are we masking? Are we not masking? It's a new environment. It's a new situation. It was kind of a sweet situation that we were in. We actually went to the dealership to get an oil change for his car. And we're sitting there, and I could see the stress. I could see him getting anxious. And I'm like, why right now? Why right now? And he burst into tears, like 18-year-old man-child burst into tears. And it's all the stress and anxiety of the unknown and what's coming up. But what I really appreciate about that is that he has stress resilience. So he feels the feelings, but then he was able to have a conversation about, this is what I feel, and this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm concerned about. We were able to talk through it. And one of his not biggest concerns, but a concern was, Mom, I've been on this protocol for I don't know how many years. I feel really good. When I go to college, how am I going to stay on this? How much are you sending kids' mood with me? What am I doing? How am I going to thrive there? He couldn't put the pieces together in his mind. And so we were able to diffuse the situation. If I back that up to 8 years ago, we would have been yelling at each other. He would have been crying. He would have shut down. No good conversation would have taken place. But because he has stress resilience and I have stress resilience, we could show up in that situation calmly. Because when you have anxiety and it's to hear, you can't reason with yourself or with someone else. And once you have
That's
it,
beautiful, Dana.
Yes,
it's beautiful, and that's what I want to teach people. I never knew there was anything called stress resiliency. It's absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge. And I agree with the people writing that Dana's a hero. She's a hero. Dana, thank you so much for sharing, because you really are. You're really amazing. Dr. Kevin, I know you have Kaylee. Kaylee, are you there? Are you able to turn your video on?
Hey.
Dr.
I am
Kevin,
here.
I'll let you introduce Hailey.
Yes, I'd like to introduce you to 𝗕𝗲𝙁𝙁. She is a fellow Arkansan, and I have the pleasure of being the pediatrician to her kiddos. She has some adorable twins. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. They were preemie, I think, maybe 34, 35 weekers. They live about an hour from me, I believe.
Yep. They were 4 weeks early.
Yeah. And so her little boy, Sladen, is my first patient to use products with. He was my first. And so he is a busy little 5-year-old boy at the time and was getting ready to start kindergarten. Mom was very nervous, and he had got a diagnosis. I don't want to tell his whole story, but he had gotten a diagnosis of ADHD from psychologist, and we had decided that school was not going to go well if we didn't do something. This is before I was introduced to the product, so we did a trial of medicine. And then they came back for a follow-up in the meantime after I had learned about her products. So I'll let her tell her experience.
All right. So, hey, yes, I am Sladen's mom. I had seen how hyper he was, ever since he was very, very young. And so he went to 4-year-old preschool. He got several sad faces sent home every week. It was hard for him to sit down, stay in centers, complete his work. He was loud and rambunctious, jumping, running, disturbing the other kids. And so that's when I was like, this is going to be an issue. And so I do occupational therapy in early intervention. So I work at a developmental center from birth to 5, and I also work in the public school system. So I go up to age 18. So I treat a lot of kids with ADHD, autism, a variety of different diagnoses. So I literally tried everything I knew to as far as a therapist would go, and also as far as being a mom. I reached out to several coworkers, colleagues, tried all of their techniques, and it just wasn't getting the job done because medicine was my last resort for him. But it ended up having to do that. So we went and had testing done. It came back that he, in fact, was ADHD. So we started methylphenidate. Am I saying that right, Kevin? And he was prescribed that twice a day. And he was having a few side effects. He was very emotional, short-tempered. And so I wasn't real happy with it. And so when we went back, that's when Kevin, or Dr. Rouse, as I call him, I'm used to calling him Dr. Rouse. That's when he was like, well, hey, I've learned about something. I've researched something all natural that I would like you to try if you're interested. And of course, I want to get off medicine. So yes, we're interested. So we tried, and I noticed a difference immediately. He was taking the mood pack and the Vita, is it GTX or whatever comes in the mood pack, but in the kids pack. But anyway, once he started taking that, the side effects from his ADHD medicine basically went away. And over, I would say, it was like a month or two, a couple months, we were actually able to take away that second dose of ADHD medicine. So he went from having 2 doses of ADHD medicine and side effects with that to only taking 1 dose of ADHD medicine, no side effects. He is making good grades. He doesn't get in trouble. Very, very good results from his teacher. That was in kindergarten. So overall, he's doing great. He started 1st grade this week, actually. And so far, so good. And so we're in love with these products. Our goal, of course, is to get off the ADHD medicine totally. But, it is what it is. Sometimes you have to have that, but less is great. And that's what we want. So, but here he is. Sit up for me. He's being a little stubborn. School's got him this week. This first week back has been tough. Come here. Just say hi for me.
Come on, Sladen. I want to see you.
Dr.
There's
Rouse
a lot of
said he
ladies
wants
on
to
here.
say
Want to see
hi.
how cute you are.
Do what? Yes, he is. He's right here. See him?
Hey, bud.
Say hi.
Honey, Hey, buddy.
They're saying, hey, he can't hear you because I have my earbuds in, but he said hi.
I think school wore him out today.
Yes, definitely. He was trying to go to sleep, and I was like, no, you got to eat dinner first. So,
Hailey, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing this, because I can guarantee you there are a lot of parents in your shoes. You are not alone. You are a hero. And I just want to thank you so much for vulnerably coming on and sharing your amazing son's story, and keep staying connected to Dr. Kevin and making that goal to see even if you can wean him off even more. And so thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
Dr.
you for
Kevin,
having me.
Oh, you're welcome. We'll have you again. Dr. Kevin,
Yes,
that brings me to a really big question that we hear from a lot of people, and this is for you as well, Cindy, that these supplements are food. And so it's okay to take them with medications. If you're on medications for ADD or ADHD, obviously work with your doctors, but it's fine to take them, correct?
Absolutely. If you can eat, you can take them.
There you have it. So anybody out there listening to this, if you eat, you can take them. They're not going to hurt, and you do not want to cold turkey off of an anxiety or depression med. You work responsibly with your doctor. We are huge on saying that. But, and Dr. Rouse is shaking his head, but you can take them. You can take them, and you can responsibly begin to wean off of a lot of these medications, which is also absolutely, absolutely huge. The other question the big question we have is now, how do we equip these parents, Cindy and Dr. Kevin? So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Kevin. Can you talk about what supplements you recommend? And of course, the brand is 𝘵𝑎𝑟𝑒. And for those of you listening, you can reach out to the person that has sent you this either recording, if you're listening to the replay, or if you're on live, okay, they will send you the info on this. But what products do you recommend for a person to get started on with focus issues, ADD or ADHD?
So, and I saw in the chat earlier, there was a question regarding the weight for the kids' products. So typically we use the kids line. There's a kids pack. A kids pack has 3 products in it. We usually use the kids line up to 100 pounds. Now I have some kiddos who are 110, 115, even 120-ish. We may decide to start with kids products there. And I think that's reasonable. The kids pack has three things. It has a good multivitamin called 𝗏𝗏𝐺𝗵𝑋. It has a product called Kids Fundamentals, which is a good pre and probiotic. It also has a proprietary blend that kind of brings the whole gut-brain axis in it. We also have the third product, Kids Mood Plus. As I was reviewing today, just the science behind these are amazing. And like I said, I've not had much any holistic experience before. And so a lot of people may wonder why these products versus you can get some of this stuff and other things. You can take multivitamins, you can get those, but I know what's in these. I've talked to the man behind them, and I've seen where the products are harvested, and we know these are pure products, and we have studies to back them up. And so what I recommend, if you have a kiddo starting with any issues, to start with the kids pack. That brings all 3 of those products together. You get a good thing to work on nutrition for the body and the mind. You have something to work with the gut, with your fundamentals. It also ties in the gut-brain axis. And then you have the kids mood product that helps work with the not only the mood, but the stress resilience and the focus. If you've got any questions about those, we have got tons of information we can share with you regarding the ingredients, the studies behind them, the science behind them. I hope that answers your question.
Absolutely. And Cindy, is there anything you would add to what Dr. Rouse just said?
I totally agree with everything Dr. Rouse said. And the only other thing I love all the products, and I take Kids Mood myself. But one of the other products that I would highly recommend, because the majority of kids are not getting the required fruits and vegetables that they need, and those are so critical to get your micronutrients. So I happen to love our product called Superfood, which is, 1 or 2 scoops of that is equivalent to 3 servings of fruits and vegetables. And I think it's so important. You can put that in some water, you can mix it with the kids' mood, and at least, they're getting their, daily allowance of what they need for fruits and vegetables. So I would add that. I can add so many others, but to start with that would be a really good blend. And even if it's a older kid that weighs over 100 pounds, it's certainly fine to start with the kids' products. You know, some kids, from my experience, they don't like to swallow pills. They don't like to swallow capsules. So, you know, if they have something that's easier to take, as long as it gets into their body, that's what's most important.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more with both of you. And I want to touch on one more really big topic because it's heavy in all of our hearts with the COVID, the Delta variant, and it's building the immune system. We know that healthy immune systems is essential. And so Dr. Kevin, I'm going to start with you. Can these products help build a healthy immune system? And do you feel like that is an essential thing in kids right now?
Absolutely. Oh, am I muted? No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
no,
I thought I was
on.
muted.
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. So as I mentioned, the Kids Fundamentals has the proprietary blend for the gut-brain axis. And we know that the immune system, a large percentage of the immune system is in your gut. And when you get a healthy gut, you in turn get a healthy immune system. And so that will feed that immune system. Also, we see that kids, and I didn't mention, a lot of the kids I have using the products are sleeping better. Sleep is very important. Sleep is very important for our immune system. So you're getting better sleep, you're improving your immune system. Nutrition is important for your immune system. You're getting your multivitamin, you're getting your Vita GBX. Kids' appetites are better with these products. They're eating better. So you get better nutrition, you get a better immune system. And so I think all of that feeds into it. I would like to add something that Cindy said about adults and kids over 100 pounds using kids' products. Hey, kids' mood is great for adults. I take 2 a day myself. So I wanted to throw that in there. So kids' mood is great for adults.
Absolutely. I mean, you can use the adult form of mood. You can use the kids form of mood. You can use both. I have people that do both. Go by how you feel. And listen, if you have a child, I know somebody put in the chat box, my stepson is 12 and weighs 230 pounds. Does he start on the kids products too? It's a weight thing. If he's willing to swallow, it's what, 100 pounds that they can do the adult version. Am I saying that correct, Dr. Rouse and Cindy?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And I think for that weight, I would do adult products if he can swallow capsules. You know, part of it depends on how they tolerate textures and capsules versus chewables and powders and things. And that's something you could certainly discuss with whoever invited you here. And, you know, I'll be happy to help as well.
I agree. Listen, I cannot thank both Dr. Rouse and Cindy anymore, and Dana and Kaylee for sharing their stories. There is hope. And the more that there's a saying that is, food is your mood. Food is your mood. And if we can improve our mood status, we are also going into resiliency that builds the immune system. It's all interconnected, all of it. And some of the side effects, there are side effects to what we do. It's excessive happiness. I mean, when you get into resiliency, you pull out and you laugh a whole lot more. And you're just, I mean, here we are, almost 8 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock some of your people's times. We're still going strong and we're serving people because we feel a heck of a lot happier than we used to. And I'm speaking for myself. Kevin and Cindy, would you guys agree? I mean, excessive happiness and smiling more?
Absolutely. Hey, my staff says that I'm not as grumpy as I used to be. Okay. So that's one testimony there. Can I add one thing, Sarah?
Please.
Yeah. And I saw there was a question about a comment on why so many adult folks use the kids' mood. Well, you know, we have an adult mood plus, which is a phenomenal product. I take that every morning. The kids' mood has different ingredients. For one reason, the ingredients in the adult mood plus have not really been studied in kids. And so they wanted to come up with something that was more kid appropriate and had some experience behind it. And so there's a list of these actually spices that are in the kids' mood that we know helps these things. And a lot of those are not in the adults. So the adults get the best of both worlds. We get the benefit from the adult mood, plus we can add the things that are in the kids' products that are not in the adult to help with our overall happiness.
Amen. And I know somebody put in the chat, weight issues is a part of mood issues. And I've had people have tremendous results with weight loss, either in children that have needed it and or adults. And so before we do closing remarks, I just want to say to all of you moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and aunties and uncles listening out there, listen, this is also for you. This is also for you. And I think Dr. Kevin and Cindy are the finest examples, along with Dana and Kaylee. They're the finest examples because we cannot take care and caregive our children, our communities, our jobs, if we don't take care of us. And what I find interesting that both Cindy and Kevin both have a common denominator besides the love of serving others is they realized that they needed to take care of themselves. And I cannot stress that enough. We need to be our kids and the next generation's example of taking care of our immune systems and keeping ourselves healthy and making sure we're getting adequate sleep, and making sure that our mood is in check. And a lot of times as parents, we eat the leftovers, and we need to stop doing that. We need to also take care of ourselves. So in closing, Dr. Kevin, any last remarks?
Oh gosh, don't get me started. I could talk forever, but just
we love you.
I think that's great advice. Take care of yourself. Love your kiddos. Talk to your kiddos. Watch for signs of depression in your adolescence, and just get through the weirdness. Embrace the weirdness and go with it, and find solutions to get through it.
And Kevin, I'm going to ask you one quick question on that. What are signs parents should watch for, their kids? Are there any signs that you can encourage them to watch?
Well, absolutely. It once again depends on age. We have, 8, 9, 10-year-olds who battle depression as well. And, it's sad to say suicide happens at that age as well. And so just watch for a change in behavior, whether it's, withdrawing, not coming to the room, not talking, change in sleeping habits, physical complaints, just be aware, be a part of your kids' lives, be aware of what they're doing, monitor their social media, just invest time into your kids. I think that's the biggest advice I can get. And so if you know your kiddo and you spend time with them, you're going to see when things are changing.
Amen. And Cindy, what are your last remarks?
The only thing I can say is I wish the products were around when I had my kids, because I would have been a much more resilient person. My stress level would have been so much lower. I can honestly say that, it definitely is something for every household. And one of the things that I love about these solutions are that they are all natural. And that's really what I was looking for, something that was all natural. It didn't have anything, any dyes. It didn't have, added sugars or sugar substitutes. And that's what really drew me to the company. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so blessed that I am able to offer this and have this as another tool for my toolkit, and be able to share with parents that there are natural solutions. So just one thing that I did want to say, you mentioned something about, weight loss. I've been able to help people gain weight, because you do have people who have weight issues because they're too thin. And a lot of, again, it all goes back to that microbiome. And I've had people that I've been able to help them gain weight. So
I am so glad you said that, because it's amazing how when that gut is off, it's like the center of your health. And when that's off, it can be underweight, overweight. It can be moods. It can be pooping. I mean, who would have thought poop and mood would go together? But they do. They equal. When they're off, they equal ugliness. When they're together, they equal happiness. So it's true. And we know the science. We see the science. It's been revealed. And now it's up to us to share the science, to share this and get this into the hands of anybody and everybody. It's why I do what I do. So Dr. Kevin, Cindy, Dana, and Kaylee, God bless you all for sharing this. And listen, for those of you listening, please share this with somebody you care about. If you're listening to this for the first time, please reach out to the person that sent it to you. And what have you got to lose? I mean, seriously, what have you got to lose? Give it a shot and be consistent and give it time. That will be my last bit of advice. Do not think 2 days or even 2 weeks. Dr. Kevin shaking his head. Give it 2 to 3 months and be patient. He's giving me the thumbs up on that. Be patient. And if you're not getting the results you're looking for, talk to the person that sent you this to tweak what needs to be tweaked. That has been miraculous for thousands of people that we've been able to help the last couple of years. And I pray that it gives some relief to your family. We're going to get through this weird. We're together. We're going to get through it and we're going to be better for it. God bless you all. I love you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back with more interviews. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.